Welcome everyone to the new year of workshops, and we have a new sales experience general overview today. You're on the call here with Craig, Kyle, and myself, Marty, and we are part of what in JobNimbus we're called as a genius team, and a genius with a J, just to JobNimbusify it. And so just a group of five of us. There's Colton and Lara as well, who we just serve you with workshops, webinars, one-on-one training and consulting. We want to support and make you guys heroes using the software. So Craig is biting at the bit. He's excited to share this new sales experience general overview today. So I will also just lend the mic back to Craig.
Thanks, Marty. So just like Marty and Kyle said, we are doing NSC General Overview today. I have been tasked at getting a hour-and-a-half presentation down to 30 minutes or less. So I'm going to burn through this as fast as I can. All right, so let's just dive right into it. So what are the basics that you're going to need to get NSC set up? Well, you're going to need an estimating or quoting model. You need to know whether you're doing per square pricing, lump sum, or line item based pricing. We're also going to need pricing information. So whether you're getting that price from a supplier or from internal sources, we need to know that ahead of time. Documents, PDFs that you'd like to include with your estimates, this is excellent to have ready and ahead of time. You don't necessarily need this logged or loaded up into JobNimbus ahead of time, but just having it on your desktop or whatnot before we meet makes a world of difference and makes this go a lot quicker. If you have examples of your former estimates, that'll also help out a lot. We try to keep things as much as we can the way that you like to do your quoting. And the last thing that we need is somebody on your team to sit in with us, learn how to create the content, and then take what they've learned and disseminate that to the rest of your team. So where do we start? You're going to go to JobNimbus and you're going to find your icon in the top right-hand side. You're going to click on that profile icon followed by settings. And then you're looking for estimate settings. And this is where NSC is housed within JobNimbus. I'll give you a quick rundown on all the different portions of this estimate settings page, but we won't spend too long. So basically layouts are multi-page estimates, pre-built, ready to rock and roll. Whereas templates themselves, they're just single pages that you can make ahead of time and you can slip into your pre-built layouts. It's just usually recommended that you get layouts under your belt first before we start building out templates. The estimate design section is where you're going to customize your presentation, just have different looks and feels to your presentation. We currently have 6 different choices and you can switch between them as you see fit. The sales PDF section is our PDF library or repository. So that's where you're going to take all of your content and just upload it into a central location for all of your admins to use, whether being creating an estimate or creating layouts. You want to have all of this content in one location. The measurement token section is used for price data calculations. Basically, if you need to auto-calculate quantities and prices within your estimates, we're going to need something to facilitate that calculation, and the measurement tokens do exactly just that. The profit settings is where you're going to find your margin markup and profitability settings. Definitely check that out to set your margins, and we will come back to that in a little bit. The financing section is pretty straightforward. It's where you're going to make you're either going to link up with our existing integration with Sunlight, or if you have your own financing partner, be it Hearth, be it whomever, we can take your plan, slip it into NSC. That way you can show that on your quote, the financing options for your customers. Email settings are pretty straightforward. It's where you can CC or BCC yourselves or other team members, so that way they can be kept in the loop. The page settings are project options, and that's also where the discount feature is hidden within these settings. And lastly, notifications. It's where you're going to get your user and account notification options. You can toggle these on and off on a user or account-wide basis. All right, diving straight into the layouts. So when we're in the layout section, you're going to see a few things. On the top right-hand side is the Create New Layout button. That's where you can create something from scratch. The Explore button that we've got in the center screen here, this is our layout library. So we've got a lot of pre-built content for you to use. Some of this does include line items for your products and services though. So keep that in mind before we add these into your library. Maybe you don't want additional products and services added in. Maybe you do, maybe you don't mind, but just keep that in mind when we're exploring the options within. The other buttons that you'll see on this screen are pretty straightforward. We do have the edit layout icon, which looks like a pencil and eraser. The copy clone layout button, just to make new layouts a little bit easier. Why reinvent the wheel when you can just copy paste? And the delete layout icon is just that trash icon on the right-hand side. The template section, though, is a little bit different because it does have one other functionality, such as quick text. So in the template section, you can create, edit, and delete your templates per normal, but you can also do the same for your quick text. It looks very similar to the layout section. So all of these functionalities should be the same. They just function towards a single page rather than the entire estimate as a whole. The quick text section specifically, though, is where you can have pre-written verbiage just slipped into your estimates. Specifically useful for the inspection page. It makes a world of difference if you're running into the same problems frequently. It's often helpful just to have a pre-templated blurb about why they need that Cricut or why they need something installed, saving your team time by typing this out. Having it pre-templated in the system makes things that much faster. Okay, this is that estimates design section I was telling you about. A few pages back, we have 6 different designs for you to currently choose from. More are coming on the way. But notice that when you toggle between these different options on screen, your logos are going to be in slightly different places. So keep that in mind. The blue color that you see here will actually be replaced with your company's branding colors. So it's not going to remain blue. It's actually going to swap to whatever your actual colors are, and your logos obviously will populate in the various logo sections throughout. The sales PDF section, that repository I told you about, there's a couple things you can do here. Firstly, you can upload content right in the middle of the screen here. If you give this section a click or you drag and drop your file here, you can just upload content into the base folder here. But what I like to do is create additional folders to keep things organized, but you don't have to keep things in this tiled view as well. We do have a list view that some folks do prefer. So go ahead, add more content as you see fit. Okay, next up is the measurement tokens section. So not everybody uses these. Some folks, if you're doing per square or lump sum pricing, well, per square you could still use these, but lump sum pricing typically doesn't. But if we're going to do any other calculations within the system, we're going to want to have measurement tokens to facilitate that. So you can add tokens, you can add multiple categories. In my own, I've got several categories: roofing, fencing, concrete, you name it. We can create measurement tokens for just about anything. Now, do keep this in mind. Not all measurement tools are the same, and nor are all measurement reports from said tools the same. Be sure to consult us, the support team, or our knowledge base if you have questions about this. But essentially, if you get a basic report, you're going to get basic information. Whereas if you're getting a premium residential report, you're going to get a lot more. So a lot more of these tokens will be automatically populated by your measurements by using a premium report. But you don't have to. There are ways around this. Okay. Profit settings is the next tab in that estimate settings window. In here, we can set our margins, our markups. We can enable and disable margin sliders, as well as our profitability tool. The margin markup toggle is right up here at the top. You can only use one, obviously. And the default margin section that we've got here. Now, this applies to line items that we're adding into the system. So if we know, hey, I'm going to be adding in a lot of content later today, I don't want to have to add in 40% margin to all of my line items individually. Preset this in the system. This will just save you a step, make your life a little bit easier as we're adding in new line items. The margin slider, you can enable and disable as you see fit. You will not see the margin slider, though, in your layout, if you're wondering. So the margin slider only populates on the estimate itself. And you can also turn on and off the profitability feature here, as well as set a minimum margin, meaning that if we do enable the margin slider, we don't want it to go below a certain percentage. And in my case here, I've said 5% is plenty low. Okay, the financing tab here is next, and you can provide financing options for all your customers here. We do have some partnerships with like Sunlight Financial. We do have some others. WiseTac Financing is a partner with JobNimbus. However, the integration isn't set up at this time. However, we can set up custom PDFs or whatnot to auto navigate your customers to that site to apply for financing as well. We can go over that in a little bit. But essentially, this is pretty straightforward. If we're bringing in your custom financing, we would click on Add Provider. And in the windows that follow, we're going to drop in your plan information. We can edit this at any given time by clicking on the edit icons, or we can always delete or duplicate the financing options by clicking on the 3 dots. Oh, that's a good thing to remember as well. Just because we've added financing in here doesn't mean it's going to show up automatically. It's just a slider we need to enable within the layout itself We just got to turn it on and tell it, hey, you've got financing options, and the system will look for it. Okay, email settings is next. Here you can adjust your CC and BCCing of other team members. Basically, you can just click on add CC address or add BCC address, drop in the email in question, and what exactly you'd like to be kept in the loop on. Personally, maybe all emails might be a little much for most admins, but maybe you want to be kept in the loop when somebody closes a deal and gets that estimate signed. You can definitely do so. Just drop in your email address and be sure to click the save button. That does get missed quite frequently. So after you drop that in, click save and you'll be kept in the loop. Additionally, on here, we can change any of the email templates that get sent to your customers here. You can always just click on any one of these to get a preview of what your customer will see when that email hits their inbox. And you can also adjust what is included, i.e., you can include the PDF or you can just include the link to the PDF, whatever you prefer. Page settings are next. And here you can just customize how these estimates are generated, as well as turn on your discounts. I personally love to see these options toggled on. You can use these sliders to toggle on or off. It does give a little bit more content to that title page, and I think thickens it up quite nicely. But you can also turn on discounts here as well by clicking on this edit icon. In the modal that pops up, you can determine who can apply a discount, whether it's admins or all users, and what you'd like to provide them. I like to set guardrails. That way the sales team can't give away the farm just to close the deal. And in this particular example, I've said, hey, $1,000 is the absolute maximum. Doesn't mean they're going to get the $1,000. Just means that's the max that I've authorized my team to issue. Okay, notifications page here. So here you can customize which additional notifications you receive. You'll notice there are two sections, my notifications as well as account notifications. They are the same, but you can opt to decide, hey, be kept in the loop. And I kind of like these because when if you send in a quote to me and I open that up, you're going to get notified that I've opened up your quote. Every time I click that link to go to your estimate, if I click it 30, 40 times, that's either really good or it's really bad. Either way, you're probably going to want to give me a call. And lastly, I think this is just a good one to have on all the time. If I've misspelled my email or given you a bum address, you want to be kept in the loop right away, not days down the road when I call you up and go, hey, I haven't received that estimate you said you were going to send me. What's going on? So I think this one should be on by default, but if it's not, definitely toggle this guy on. These ones are more so optional, but this guy I think should be mandatory. So now we're going to dive into this a little bit more. So when we dive into the actual layout, top to bottom, left to right, there's a title page, there's inspection pages, there's quote details, custom pages, etc. I'm going to take you through these quickly, and if we have time, I'm going to show you as well in my own. So this cover page makes an immediate impression with the homeowner, your customer. And I don't know why, but if you can get a dog in this picture, the dog will do the job for you. Dogs sell everything. I've seen them sell roofs. I've seen them sell all kinds of stuff, but they do. So if the homeowner has a dog, when you roll up with your truck, try to get a picture of that house out front, snag a picture with that dog. You might be surprised how well it actually does. Now, the spot for certification logos, this is for brands that you like to work with. So say you're a GAF roofer or an IKO, you prefer those brands, why not highlight your partnership? Throw in that IKO logo or whomever it is, that right on this portion of the title page. That way your customers know who you are partnered with. It shows a lot of professionalism. It looks great as well. Try it out. You may find that you'll really like it. Oh, this section down below, though, where it's listing out your customer information here, you don't need to populate this, especially in the layout, because if you put this in the layout, it's going to be on every quote going forward, which also reminds me, this primary image spot, if we're working in our layout, save this for the actual estimate. Don't put an image in the layout because, again, it would be on every estimate going forward that uses said layout. All of this information, though, the contact information will be pulled from the contact or the job directly, though. Same with the salesperson information, which brings me to the introduction page. So it's a good spot for you to introduce your company, tell the customers a little bit about yourselves, your journey, what you plan on quoting them for. A few things do get missed here quite often, though. The first being that we've got a token all over this place. We've got tokens at the top, the bottom, and a library of tokens for you to choose from as well, too. These are means to swap out information automatically. I love them. I use them everywhere. I think it's just a great way to make what I call a set it and forget it introduction page. You just get it the way that you like. It looks like you're writing something personal, but you're not. The system will swap in and out the pertinent information. Next up is our inspection page. And just like you think, it's exactly what you think. It's a good spot to show customers problems you found around the home or the job that they may be aware of or unaware of altogether. Once you upload your imagery, you can either do so from integration or via if you've uploaded images to the job itself, no problem. You can also upload directly from your device. So if you've got the photos saved on your computer at the office and you're whipping up the estimate, no problem. You don't have to upload them to the job if you don't want. You could upload them from your computer directly. The benefit about having it in the job is then anybody else with admin access can also verify and check in, add photos, etc. as well. In here, we can also annotate the imagery. So click that edit icon and you can mark this up as you see fit. Just provide details in this window here as well about what the problem is. In this image, it looks like a cricket needs to be installed on this chimney, and that's the information I would put in here. If this is something that happens often, this is that quick text button right here in the bottom right-hand side. If we give this plus button a click, what it does is it opens up a little modal where it asks you, hey, do you want to save this content? Save it for next time. And it works just like the predictive text in your cell phone. If you save it as cricket and you've got a little description and you start typing in cricket here, you get a little drop down box with your description. Did you mean this? You just give that a click and it'll populate your information here automatically for you, thus expediting the inspection page. Moving along to our estimate details page. Now, this is essentially the meat and potatoes, and you can customize what information your customer sees as well as what options we're going to give them. So across the top here, by default, we like to set this up as a good, better, best, but you don't have to. You could set this up as 3 different options. I've got some folks that like to set this up as the house, the garage, maybe an outbuilding. And in the page settings here, you can toggle between options that says, my customer can only choose one quote, or my customer can choose multiple quotes. So maybe you're doing the roofing here, maybe you're doing the siding here and some fencing on this option here. And your customer can pick and choose and go, I want the roof and the fence done this time. The siding maybe we'll save for another day. Now, also in the quote details area, your pricing and your quantity information can be displayed in this page settings button that's up on the very top. You can disable what you show your customers. And honestly, I don't have any of my options toggled on. I like to show my customers just a grand total at the very bottom. What that does is it shows them all of this verbiage. This is all the work that we're still going to do, but it does not include quantities or pricing information, which is excellent because then they can't go to Joe Blow down the street to try to backwards calculate what your rates are to see if they can steal your job. So in here, you can do a couple other things. With this one right here is text. This is just text as well, but you'll notice as we get down to the bottom, maybe if I wanted to save this text into the system, I would click this plus button where I would get another modal where I would be prompted to enter some information, product information, save a description, and then save it into the system. Once it is saved into the system, like this next line item that you see here, it has this grayed out background, letting you know this icon exists, or this line item exists in the system somewhere. And this icon changes to a chain link, or it kind of looks like a cat's eye to me these days. But essentially, once you see that chain link icon, you know, hey, I can apply a calculation to this. And that's exactly where you would click. You would click on this chain link, scroll to the bottom, click on the add calculation button where you can then have quantities auto-determined just by uploading measurements. Okay, we're going to keep burning through this, the signing and upgrades page. So this is essentially the e-signing page where you can offer upgrades, collect signatures, as well as the deposit. On the left-hand side here, you'll see I've got a couple options. And these line items here are currently saved into the system with calculations, thus giving me my quantities of what I'm going to need. It automatically creates that price for it, and it just makes it super easy for your customers on impulse to go, yes, I want these gutter guards, or I want this skylight, or something else that's not part of the actual job, but it's a nice to have. It works really well. And we found that on average, If you have at least 2 or 3 options in here, you're going to close about 1,500 to 2,000 extra per job just by having choices. So even if only 1 or 2 of your customers choose these every week, it's free money coming in. It's definitely good to have. Further on down on this page, there's also the deposit section. Now, if you're signed up with JobNimbus Payments and that is active and running, you can toggle this slider on and you can say, hey, I want to make sure that I'm getting paid from my customers a deposit. How this would work in an example is that if you're sending a quote to me, I receive the quote and I go, yep, I'm ready to sign. I sign off on the quote. As soon as that signing is done, the page redirects me to my deposit page where I can then enter my credit card or ACH information to get you your deposit right away. If you don't have payments activated already, do speak with one of us, the support team, or anybody else here at JobNimbus. We can help you get that activated. Terms and conditions page. This is where you're going to upload some of your legalese, so to speak. There's a couple things to make note of here on this page. The first, and by far the most important in my opinion, is this slider right up at the top. I call this the cover your butt button. With this enabled like it is right now, your customers can't do anything with the estimate until they check a little pop-up box that says, I have read and agree to all the terms and conditions outlined in this document, making it legally binding. With this slider turned off, there is a little bit of wiggle room. But with this slider turned on like this, they can't do anything. They have to agree to your terms and conditions. And I highly recommend that you have this turned on any page that has legalese. Also on this page, you don't have to type this out like I've got in the example below. If you've got this pre-made on a PDF and it looks great, why reinvent the wheel? Let's flip this toggle to use PDF and upload your PDF here. Again, once you do that though, make sure you got that slider on to cover your butt. Also in here, you'll notice we've got additional tokens in here. We've got customer initial and customer signature tokens available in this dropdown. This is handy, especially in this example that we've got right here. Hey, if I find roof rot, I'm going to replace up to $200 without asking you about it. That might be something you want your customers to sign off on or initial ahead of time. And I definitely would recommend you drop those in there. Combined with the acknowledgement, it's pretty powerful. So it's good. Also, this pro tip, while it's not displayed in this dropdown on this specific terms and conditions page, all other tokens from the introduction page or any of the text custom pages will still work here. So you can copy and paste them in and have this formulated exactly the way that you like. This brings us to custom pages. I've mentioned it a couple times. Now, custom pages are great marketing tools. They're great ways to direct traffic to your websites. You can do a lot with these. Basically, when you click on to add custom pages, you're going to be presented with 3 options. The system will ask you, great, what are we uploading and where is this located? Sales PDFs would be that repository of PDFs that I spoke about earlier, where you and your sales team can upload marketing information such as this. This is great stuff for your customers to have. Single-use PDF option, though, here is perfect for an Xactimate report. In fact, I believe that's what it was originally designed for. So Xactimate reports are not on every job. They're specific to that job itself. So basically, it's going to be a one-time use. So we would toggle to that, drag and drop our Xactimate in. That way, the customer can be kept in the loop with what the insurance company said they're approved for, etc. And again, because I'm anal about organization, you can organize everything within your custom pages here as well into different folders. I just think it keeps things nice and neat rather than having one massive list of files. Now, we also have some pre-templated Canva pages for you to use as well. Everything from salesperson introduction to insurance documents, warranty info, everything far in between that you can customize with your logo. And I will show you briefly on this, but I know we have future webinars coming up on Canva as well, but we won't go too deep down that rabbit hole today. But we do have a lot of content pre-made for you so that you don't have to reinvent that wheel. How do we use this? When we've got a layout that we've created, we've done all the work, it's ready to go. How do you put this to action? Well, you're going to need to go to the job in question. So let's go back up. So my job in question here is for Jane Tester right here. I've looked her up in the top right-hand side of JobNimbus. I've typed in her name. I see the job that I've got started for her already. And then once I'm in that job, I'm going to navigate to the Financials tab. On this Financials tab, you'll notice it's going to be the center of the screen towards the right-hand side, there is a Measurements button. This is what you're going to want to click on to apply your measurements to automatically have your quantities and pricing pre-populated for you. When you click on that, you're going to get this window here where it asks you, hey, where are we getting these measurements from? Is it coming from EagleView? Is it coming from Hover? Are we uploading a measurement file? And these are the different file types that we accept currently. Or you can manually enter your measurements as well. If you got a guy on the roof with a measuring tape, why not just use that instead of spending some money, right? So what you would do is expand this drop-down accordion. That's what it would look like here. And you can manually enter these values. Not everything will come through on a EagleView report or Hover report. There are some specific measurement tokens that will come through and some that will not. I would recommend that if you're going with an EagleView report, do get the premium report because most of these will be populated by the EagleView report. Not everything though. If you have any questions about it, reach out to us, the support team, or you can always consult the knowledge base as well, because we do have content in there. Once you've done all this work, you've entered this in or you've uploaded your EagleView to it, be sure to click the back button. This will bring you back one layer into JobNimbus and will save your measurements automatically here. The next thing that you're going to do is beside that measurements button, you're going to click on create estimate, and that's going to pull in all the measurements you've just uploaded and push them into the estimate itself. And then using the calculations that you have will start auto determining quantities and thusly pricing. You'll notice that this example hasn't had any work done to it, but it's already got a $32,000 cost automatically, and this took just seconds. So the real value is in there. And this would be true across not only the good, but the better and the best. So all your estimates, or if you have 3 estimates essentially combined into one, will automatically have all quantities and pricing populated for you ahead of time, provided you have measurement tokens and calculations set up. Otherwise, you may have to drop in a manual keystroke or two. When you're in your estimate, this one, what I did here is I've applied my measurements. I said, hey, I'm going to use my default layout, or you can choose a different layout if you got other ones. And it pushes these quantities into the quote details page. But there's still a little bit more work to do. Typically, what I like to do is drop an image on that title page and that inspection page as well. And to drop in an image, you can upload it directly from the job itself or directly from your device. Just click on it or drag and drop the image to that location and it will populate. Same with the inspection page. It's the same process. I like to annotate my images as well as provide some details to the customer about why this is a problem, why they need that Cricut installed. It gives a little bit of a visual reference and clears up any questions for customers pretty quick. But once you've got that, if there's no other work to be done or edits to be made, we're going to click on that review and share button in the top right-hand side. It's going to be in this section up here. And when you click that, it condenses everything down into a single PDF for your customer, where you can scroll through the PDF, review it with them. And if you're sitting around the kitchen table together, no problem. You're going to click on that sign now button. Otherwise, if they want you to email this to them, that's no problem at all. You just click on send for signing, and the email that is used for this contact, they will receive the estimate. So that's 30 minutes of my presentation. I can walk you through this in less than that. Let's put it to work. So here's that example I showed you earlier, Jane Tester. I found her in my system. I've gone to the financials tab. I'm ready to create the estimate. So where do we do this? First things first is I'm going to drop in some measurements. I'm going to click on that measurements button. I'm going to either connect my EagleView or Hover to this, or as I've done in this case, drop in some manual measurements here. And you can scroll through them. You can add in as many as you like. And then we're going to click this back button. This brings us back to the job. And now we're going to click on create estimate. You get this slider out. And that slider, in case you're wondering, is just this enable job slider option right there. If you don't see that pop out and you like it, you can toggle that on and off. But I'm going to use my default layout. Otherwise, if I said, no, I need to quote this guy on a concrete or a deck or anything else that we've got in the system, you could use that layout without changing it, what your default is. All right. So let's use this layout that I've already got started. Wonderful. So this looks a lot like the layout that we were building out ahead of time, but this is the estimate for Jane here instead. Okay, so we've got our measurements in there. We're going to go click on create estimate, and we're going to use our default layout. Just to make sure everything is working the way it should be, I like to jump forward right away to the quote details page, and then I just scroll on down. and we'll see we've got quantities already pre-populated with pricing ahead of time. So we know that my calculations and measurement tokens we've got in the system are working as desired. So really, we would just make any last minute revisions here. We could review this real quick and go, that's right, standard vents aren't included in my EagleView report or Hover or wherever I got my measurements from. I know that I'm going to need at least 6 of these. So I'm going to key that in manually. And the pricing will now update to reflect. Last thing I need to do is to make this really appealing to my customer. So I'm going to find my title page here. I'm going to upload a photo, and let's find something nice. Okay, I'm going to drag and drop that guy there. Great. This is my customer's home. And again, you can get a dog in this. It makes a world of difference. I still haven't figured it out. Some kind of psychology thing. I think dogs secretly rule the world. Okay, so we got our images. Let's do our inspection page as well too. We want to make this point out any images problems that we've got. So let's just drag and drop our image here. And then let's mark this up, because right now this doesn't really say anything. Tell the customer a lot. They're like, I see my chimney. Well, what the problem is here, sir, is that you're going to get water pooling here. So I'm going to annotate this real quickly. I'm going to give this a click. And I can say, hey, mister, you need a cricket. They kind of look like this. And the whole purpose of this cricket is just to keep this water moving. So it stops from pooling, and we want it to leave your roof. And you can mark this up as you see fit. Again, this was just a quick and dirty one. Then I can leave some notes about it, about the problem. And then if we have additional imagery, we can add more photos. We can break this out into sections if needed to. And you don't have to keep this formatting. I like this format myself, the side-by-side that fits 4 images on a page. I just think it fits everything in a little bit nicer, but any of these options will work just fine, whatever works best for you. Okay, so we've got some inspection imagery. We've got some pricing info in here. If we said, hey, I know Craig said he is not interested in the better and best options, why would I present this to my customer with those options then? If they've already cleared it and said it's not an option, no problem. We can remove them. We can safely delete these knowing that they were built onto the layout and they'll all come back next time. In fact, that's why I build out my layouts to have additional line items. Sometimes they're not always used. Like maybe this pipe boots or pipe flashing. Well, we're actually going to need a couple of those. So I mean, at least 6 of those. But whatever it happens to be, now you'll notice my labor has also been included here as well. If I scroll on down, I see all my labor quantities, my ridge vents, everything's in here, additional materials, how many boxes of nails I need, and my discount down at the bottom is ready as well too. I think I'm ready to send this to my customer. Well, the very last thing I do is I double check the authorization page just to see if there's any other last minute items I can drop into here. Maybe it's a skylight. Maybe it's an annual service plan, whatever it happens to be, you can drop this in here. If it's not in your system, like your products and services like these are, but you still want to offer it, just leave it as a text, manually enter the quantity and the price for that product though, and you're off to the races. I just double check down below. Are we going to be requiring a deposit? Well, for this example, I'm going to say no. We trust Jane. We know Jane. She's a family friend. We don't need the deposit from her. But maybe we want to add in an additional signatory. We can just click in add signer, drop in their information, and they're going to get prompted to sign this as well. It goes to one signatory first and then the following one. So I'm going to get rid of this extra guy for right now. And really, we're done. So I'm just going to click on review and share. It's going to compile this down into a single PDF for our customer. Watch pots never boil and whatnot. There we go. Now, if we're sitting around the kitchen table, I can review this with my customer. I can go over this with them. If they said, hey, this is wonderful. I like this estimate. Where do I sign? Well, we can sign now, or we can email it to them to send for signing. Either way, though, it's going to bring them to the same spot. Now, if we offered a better and best option, I deleted those previously, but they would be listed across the top 2 where your customer could choose between the 2 of them. We can choose any additional upgrades. I didn't apply financing on this one, and we can cover that in another webinar. But now I can leave some notes for you too, like, hey, maybe watch out for the dog, and then we can go save and sign. Now I can either type in my name, or I can click this little button right here and I can sign on your iPhone or your iPad or whatever it happens to be. You can have a swooping signature, and there is the cover our butt button I was telling you about. I can't actually sign this estimate until I agree to your terms and conditions. Now that I do, I'm going to get a signed copy. You're going to get a signed copy. And now, most importantly, back in JobNimbus, this is now in an approved, fully signed status where we can now convert this to material orders, work orders, and help the rest of our team. But that's for another time.
Craig, I'm going to so rudely interrupt. So I just barely posted the product feedback request link. So for anyone that has any like updates that you want to send over to our product team, you can use this link. We do have a product feedback request option. It's called user voice. And this is where you can actually like talk directly over to product managers and to get all the info sent over to them. And Craig, if you want to show that link, that would be awesome.
So here it is here. And if you said, hey, we need better contacts and jobs, or I think dashboard and reports could get revamped, or you've got suggestions on anything, add your voice to this. The more voices we have requesting a specific functionality, of course, the higher up in the production order it will become. So if we know, hey, everybody on the team needs calendar revamped, let's submit those requests. Because again, the more voices we have asking for anything, the faster it's going to get developed. And that's exactly where you can do so. All right, so last, if you do have questions, ask the Genius team. We are here to help you. You can also reach out to our support team as well. Customer success at jobnimbus.com or support at jobnimbus.com. If you have a dedicated account manager, do reach out to them first. They kind of prefer chatting with you anyway. But if you don't have a dedicated account manager, no problem. We're here to help you get up to speed. We're going to be this. I know today was kind of a general overview and it was really fast. So we will be sending out recordings, and there is actually the PDF version of today's presentation available in the link section as well. So download yourself a copy. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week.
Awesome.
And have a good day.
See you guys.
Take care.